Here's my preview of the number 21 versus number 22 Michigan women's basketball game. This is the third meeting between these two schools in the last 3 years. 2021 NCAA tournament, that close game. In the second last game for Kim Mulkey, the former head coach. Obviously, last year was in overtime game and Michigan won that against Nikki Collin and company. And this year, it's in the Gulf Coast Showcase championship game. Who are some key players to keep an eye on? I'm going to break that down like I do on the dance floor. Emily Kaiser, number 33, 6'3" forward. That's a senior, 19.2 points per game. 1 for 2 on threes, 26 for 29 on free throws, 6.8 rebounds per game, 3.1 assists per game, 2.7 turnovers per game, 2 steals per game, 0.8 blocks per game, 1.7 fouls per game. Lilia Phelia, I apologize if I butchered that last name, number 5. 6-foot guard, that's a sophomore, 17.2 points per game, 11 for 21 on threes, 8 for 9 on free throws, 4 rebounds per game, 2.7 turnovers per game, 1.7 steals per game, 1.2 blocks per game, 1.8 fouls per game. Leah Brown, number 32, 6'1" guard, that's a senior. She's the one that killed Baylor last year, not Naz Hillman. 13.6 points per game, 2 for 11 on threes, 18 for 24 on free throws, 4 rebounds per game, 3.8 turnovers and assists per game, 1.8 turnovers per game, 1 steal per game, 1.6 fouls per game. Maddie Nolan, number 3, 5'11" guard, that's a senior, 8 points per game, 13 for 38 on threes, 1 for 1 on free throws, 3.5 rebounds per game, 3.2 assists per game, 1.2 turnovers per game, 2 steals per game, and 1.5 fouls per game. Cameron Williams, number 44, 6'3" forward, that's a junior, 7.8 points per game, 5 for 7 on free throws, 5.3 rebounds per game, 1.3 turnovers per game, 2.3 fouls per game. Jordan Hobbs, number 10, 6'3" guard, that's a sophomore, 4.3 points per game, 6 for 16 on threes, 2 rebounds per game, 0.8 turnovers per game, 0.8 steals per game, 0.8 fouls per game. Greta Camp Schroeder, number 11, 6-foot guard, that's a sophomore, 4.2 points per game, 5 for 22 on threes, 4 for 4 on free throws, 3.8 rebounds per game, 2.7 assists per game, 2.7 turnovers per game, 1 foul per game. Alyssa Crockett, number 20, 6'2" forward, that's a freshman, 3.2 points per game, 1 for 5 on threes, 2 for 2 on free throws, 3.3 rebounds per game, 2.3 assists per game, 1 turnover per game, 0.8 steals per game, 0.7 blocks per game, and 1.2 fouls per game. Elise Stock, number 30, 6'1" guard / forward, that's a junior, 2.8 points per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, 1.4 turnovers per game, and 2 fouls per game. I'm not going to mention the other players because they're not going to play, more likely than not. I know one of them listed I got only played 1 game in this year, that's it. While the others hardly play at all, period. So, both teams are coming off of 5-point wins over their respective opponents. For Michigan, they beat South Florida by 5, while Baylor beat number 22 Villanova by 5 points. So, both teams are playing their game in 3 days. So, it's going to be interesting what happens here. Too bad it's not on TV because it's on Flow Hoops. You have to pay $29.99 a month for their subscription. So it's just pretty much radio only or ESPN Gamecast. I know what Baylor needs to do to win this game. Defensively, you can't allow those shooters to get going. I mean, it's the truth. They're going to be physical, so expect physicality and don't let them get to their spots and let's get them uncomfortable. As in, like, take difficult shots, like fading away You got to force turnovers. You got to limit those second chance points. So limit the transition points and the points off turnovers as well. And I will also say you got to hit the glass too. I mean, it's important to get those defensive rebounds now. And remember, in the last 2 games you played, you have struggled on containing the offensive glass for the opponent. You got to do a better job on that. Now, offensively, you got to get some transition points, some points off turnovers if you can. And transition as well. So, you got to take care of the ball, obviously. You got to take good shots. And I know you didn't attempt that many threes last game, but you got to pick and choose when you want to shoot a 3 or not. As in, like, it's a good shot. Or I could just go past my defender and get to the rim and get a layup and one. Or even a mid-range jump shot. It's about shot selection. That's the key. You don't want to take bad shots just to take bad shots. Unless you are having to do that with the clock running down or anything. I'm just saying. You got to get some offensive rebounds. You just got to avoid foul trouble on both ends of the floor. And foul trouble is going to be key for both teams. And it'll be interesting how the officiating is going to be. Because I know from the Villanova game, I don't know about the Michigan game. I know I did to talk about I didn't talk about that game at all because there was no upset or anything. But, I mean, are the refs going to let them play? Or are they going to call everything imaginable like they did in that Baylor versus Villanova game? That's the number one thing. And I'm pretty sure the refs are going to have to be more accountable in this game. I mean, they have to be accountable. But you gotta control, and forget the refs and you gotta make your free throws count. Don't miss 10 free throws like you did last game. I mean, you could have had more separation if you would have made more free throws. I mean, and you gotta limit Michigan and get to the free throw line as well defensively, or don't get like 5 team fouls that they so quickly they could just live at the free throw line with almost every foul except the offensive foul. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, and you gotta have your bench players step up too, just to give some quality minutes for the stars coming out of the game, either due to foul trouble or they just need a little breather before going back in. So, as you could tell, Michigan, they're taller a little bit. They're taller at the guard spot and even at the forward spot because, let's face it, Baylor's front court right now. Yes, I know they got 6'1" as a starter, but that's gonna be a challenge, and you gotta do to help your freshmen out in this game and keep them positive. Because I know you have to just move on to the next play immediately. I mean, you gotta have your seniors step up, and Kalen Bickle and Jamie Asbury. I mean, they're veterans. I mean, for a reason. I mean, they've been through almost every situation possible. I mean, I'm just telling the truth. Anyways, I just want to go over the Michigan preview of this game, and this game is at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, which it could be delayed because the other games could finish later. So we'll have to wait and see what time officially that's going to be, but be prepared to listen to the pregame at 6 o'clock if it starts on time. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's give me the 400 subscribers and more by the end of this year or sometime in the future. And I'm going to put the stats in the description below so y'all can see it too.